Alrighty everyone, welcome back to the channel and to episode 3 of the 365 series. So last week was our first official inspection, and today we're going to go back in and see if the hive needs a second box. Alrighty, now before you begin, make sure you already have your box and your 10 frames ready. You don't want to have to go and run off and try to grab your box or anything while your bees are open. It can run the risk of them getting raided. So make sure you already have your equipment set aside and ready to go. Now, like always, make sure you give them a little bit of smoke here. That'll do. And now we're going to go ahead and crack the lid. And like always, as we go into the hive, we're going to try to move calmly and slowly. It helps keep the bees nice and calm, which is what we want. Give them a little bit of smoke. Alrighty. The hive still looks to be doing pretty good. And also, this has been 7 days since our last inspection. And if you look, you can already see they're starting to draw on frame 8 here. And it looks like they're starting to draw on this one a little bit too. Let's see here. Now, just because we're going to add the second box doesn't mean we're not going to do our inspection. We're still going to do our inspection and make sure everything looks good in the hive. And it's always important for when you begin to look at every frame in the hive. As you get more experienced, you're not going to have to do this as much. But for now, it's really important to check every single frame every time you go in. As you can see, they're drawing out this side really nice. On this side, nothing left, or nothing yet that they're drawing. And remember, whenever they line up like racehorses, push them back down. And we're going to look like we always do, which is for our queen. And if we can't find her, it's not a big deal. We're just going to look for evidence of her. So you can see there's lots of larvae and stuff in this frame. It's not eggs, but it's, pretty good sign that she's probably in here. We'll go ahead and look for eggs. Oh, which this side has got plenty of eggs all over it. So again, even though we don't see our queen, we have found lots of eggs, which is a very good sign. And they're all single eggs, and they're all in the bottom, which is exactly what we're looking for. Looking really good. Lots of captive brood. We got honey on here. Looks good. Same thing on this side. It looks like this side they're hatching out here, which isn't a problem. You can tell she's doing a great job. The pattern is, if you look, a little bit spotty. So this might send a lot of people really scared because it's a little spotty, but don't panic quite yet, because if you look, there's nectar in between a lot of these cells. And if they're putting nectar into those cells, she's not going to lay in them. And so it might not be her fault as much as it's actually the bees are filling the hive up quicker than she can lay in it. So it's not a big deal right now. You can see down here, they do have some queen cups, and they like to do this a lot, this hive does, but there's never anything in them. There's no egg, there's no larva or anything. And if there was an egg or larva, at that point we would have to go to the next step, which means they're probably wanting to swarm on us, which means we forgot to get a box on too quickly, or something happened and they're wanting to swarm. But there's nothing in these. As you can see, they're all empty. And I keep checking them and I'm not seeing anything at all in them. And this is a few times I've seen them. I've seen them quite often with this hive, but there's nothing in them ever. So I'm not going to get too concerned until I see eggs and larvae in them. Once I see eggs and larvae, then at that point we know they're wanting to swarm and we would have to move on to the next steps, which means we'd have to split them or something like that. But for now, it's not a big deal. Now, this is a really, really good frame. Look how much brood she has in here. This is absolutely slammed packed with brood. And this will be a huge boost to this hive in just a few weeks. Looking great. And the same thing on this side. Really, really good. Wow, this queen is a really good queen. And again, there's more swarm cups down here. And like I said, there's nothing ever in them. I always destroy them, but I'm kind of just looking. I don't see anything in them. So as long as there's nothing in them, I'm not going to get too concerned yet. This hive is doing really, really good though. That is such a good laying pattern there. Lots and lots of larvae there in that frame. And same thing with this one. Oh, and there's our queen actually this time. So we did find her this time. There she is right there. Really pretty queen. Doing a really good job too. I'm very impressed with her. We can go in and put her back in now. And again, they're starting to line up here. Give them a little bit more smoke. This is a very heavy frame. Yeah, it's almost all honey. Or almost honey. They haven't capped it quite yet, just like it was last time. But yeah, they're really filling it up with honey, which is good. It's nice to have lots of food in here for them. Alrighty, and that's all we really need to see here. We're going to go ahead and push these frames back over. And so now the real question comes down to, should we put the second box on? So there's always been the rule of like 70% of the frames drawn. And if you look, there's about 70% in here drawn. This one's almost completely drawn. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost this one drawn as well. So we've almost got 8 frames drawn in here, which for me, I'm gonna put the next box on. And here's the thing, the hive is gonna wanna go up. And so they might skip these 2 outside frames. And if they do that, if we come in next time and they have skipped these outer 2 frames, then what we'll do is we'll take them, we'll pick them up, and we'll put them on the inside of these 2, which will force them to draw them. Now, you might be wondering, why don't we just let them draw the entire hive out? Why don't we let them draw out all 10 frames before we put our second box on? Well, if we let them draw out all 10 frames and then we put the second box on, we run the risk of them wanting to swarm. And that's because once the hive starts to fill up and it starts to realize it's running out of space, it says, well, we're all out of room, so we might as well go ahead and swarm. And you do not want your hive swarming on you your first year. It's not gonna like ruin your hive or kill your hive or anything. It's gonna slow the production of your hive down. It's gonna set you back about a month or so behind everyone else who's going to be further ahead of you. So we really want to prevent them from wanting to swarm. And the way we do that is give them more space before they need it. And that is by adding the second box on now while there's only 7 or 8 of these frames drawn. And as you can see from the queen cells in there, this hive has already been thinking about swarming. They haven't decided to do it yet, but they have been thinking about it. And so that's why it's even more important to put this second box on. Now, we do have 2 frames in here that are already drawn out, as you can see here. They were just from another hive that we had, but all the others are normal frames that aren't drawn. We just stuck those in there because we have been doing so many splits over the last few days and we have run out of empty bee frames. So we're going to use those for now. For that, we can go ahead and put the feeder back on. Put the lid back on, and also before we put the lid back on, remember to add more feed. We keep giving them about a half gallon to a gallon of feed each and every 4 days or so. So make sure you're also feeding them. It'll make the hive draw much quicker. Alrighty, and that's gonna just about wrap it up for us here. Everything still looks really good with this hive. She's still laying tons and tons of brood. We have lots of eggs. We found our queen. They're expanding really nice. They had almost 8 of the frames drawn. And so we decided to put the second box on, and they're just looking really good. Join us next week for episode 4 of the 365 series. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow.